elaborate more on what this training is about, on what the training is about?
So today we are having a discussion with the women, the small business owners, on how to help them get a larger share of the government procurement. This means that the government spends quite a bit of money in services and buying goods in Samoa, and how we can increase the share of the small businesses managed by women in helping them get that business. A lot of people think that the government spends a lot of money on buildings or infrastructure, but in fact the largest expenditure of government is in education and health. And in both of these areas, there's possibilities for smaller contracts for smaller companies, such as women-owned companies. So the discussion that we are having here with the women is, are they informed enough on where the contracts are, or should we have a resource center or a place where we centralize all the new contracts and bids that they have to do to win the business of the government, one. And two, what kind of help businesses need to build their capacity so they can be good service providers for the government. Because smaller firms run by women are often intimidated by bidding for the business of the government, but in fact they can with a little bit of capacity building. For instance, we can talk to the banks to give financing terms in a way that they can withstand the fact that the government pays, for instance, a little longer or slower than other private clients. So then these businesses would need the financial capacity to wait for those payments, and there's a financial solution there in helping these smaller businesses in doing business with the government. The other part is really to beef up their human resource skills in order to be able to respond to what the government is purchasing or requiring. In that case, businesses can band together as a cooperative or as a partnership to become stronger, so they are able to work with the government, because the spending amounts of the government in Samoa are much larger than any private business. So we have to make sure that women-owned businesses also benefit from that market.
So this is phase 2. What have you covered in phase 1?
So last year we have trained 35 procurement officers from the Treasury, the Ministry of Finance, Election Commission, on the fact that we need to give a better chance to women-owned businesses to bid and win some of these contracts. So this year we are working more with the women to build the capacities of these women-owned companies to bid. So what are the forms to fill in order to bid for the procurement of the government? Where do you get the information? What kind of human resources capacities do you have to do business with the government? We're trying to look at all of these things and learn also from the women, from the experiences where they have been perhaps unsuccessful in bidding for these contracts. And then we can have conversation with the people who prepare the bids, not to prepare huge, big purchase orders, but maybe cut them in smaller lots. That way smaller companies can bid for the smaller lots. So this comes from a voluntarist policy to help the small businesses to get to do business with the government. Otherwise, the only people who can do business with the government are larger businesses who have the capacity and human resources and financial wherewithal to do business with the government, which also is asking for a lot of sophisticated attributes to a business. But at the same time, the government benefits from strengthening smaller businesses, because smaller businesses tend to create more jobs for the young people of Samoa. And in the end, the government wins when jobs are created, and by giving some of its business to these women-owned companies and smaller businesses.
Can you tell us why you've targeted women business owners in the case of?
So, women business owners are the category that really benefit the least from government spending, from business with the government. One of the reasons is most of the companies that the women own are smaller businesses, micro businesses, and with least capacity to perform larger contracts. But there is a way to create a center where these businesses can put their services together and become larger by being partners and thus becoming good service providers to the government. So currently, and it's the case in other countries as well, is that women-owned businesses get a very, very tiny share of the government procurement, of government contracts. And by giving a larger share to women-owned businesses, then we strengthen women-owned businesses. They hire more women, and more of the women will be mobilized towards producing goods and services for the entire country. So it makes perfect sense to try to cure this imbalance that exists currently.
So how did you select the participants for this training?
So we have access to a number of young women that we have trained in the past for marketing courses, online marketing courses, how to put their business on the internet, and now these young women told us, okay, but where can we sell? So in Samoa, where can you sell? Where you can sell to the diaspora, to the expatriates, but the biggest customer here in Samoa is the government, which is spending quite a bit of financial resources on all the services they buy, be it construction, be it education spending, be it healthcare spending, be it maintenance of public buildings or janitorial services or bed sheets for a public hospital. So smaller companies are also able to provide these services, and they should be given a chance.
Are you planning to expand it to other women participants that are not able to participate?
Yes, of course. So in fact, what we want to do is to, after this kind of a focus group training that we do, and also conversations hopefully with the government and other stakeholders, to see if we can get all the public procurement information online somewhere or in a centralized place. And we also consider having experts help women bid for the business of the government. That means that if you are a women-owned enterprise and you know that the government is going to buy such products or services, but you are intimidated by the fact that you don't even know where to start from to fill out which forms to do business with the government, somebody should be able to coach you, and we would like to provide that.
Have you done any other trainings like this in the Pacific?
Yes, not only in the Pacific, but worldwide. It is a well-known fact that government procurement is so sophisticated that always the contracts go to the most sophisticated companies, and it's obvious. So we think that, and we are not saying that the bar should be lower or the government should compromise on the quality of what it's buying. What we are saying is that the process of bidding for government business should be simplified, and the information on government contracts should be more transparent and should be shared in a central place, so anybody who sees the capacity to provide these services can bid. So we will help those smaller companies come to that benchmark that already exists, so they can bid for that business.
So how do you see the feedback from the participants in these last 2 days?
So the participants are very interested in this, and because, like any small business, would like to have more clients, and they would like to do business with the government. And perhaps doing business with the government is a little bit more complex, in any country, the government pays a little later than private clients who might pay sooner, but that can be fixed by having a conversation with bankers who can give some bridge loans or special lines of credit where the repayment terms are made more flexible for the small businesses so they can do business with the government. And after all, the government is a good payer. The government pays a little slower, but it does pay. So that is, for a bank, is a good risk to have.